Good gaming champions. Welcome to the first review with Champions of Tabletop. It looks a little different this time. We thought we would try something a little bit different. I'm about to go on vacation. The boys have some different things, but as always, I'm joined by Dion and Shay. Your host, Matt, make the Champions of Tabletop. And today we have a special for you. As you've seen many of the content we've been putting out on our social media, we had a chance to get behind the scenes review copy. Rock Hard 1977. Not only did we get a chance to do an unboxing and an early playthrough, but we also had a chance to do an amazing interview with Jackie Fox, who of course is the developer of this game. And so definitely make sure, if you haven't checked out that content, go look at our YouTube and TikTok and Instagram. And of course, if you're not following those things, make sure you hit that bell, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It means the world to us, helps the algorithm, let people know that we even exist. And no sadder life to live than one of which nobody knows you live. So please help our channel out. We'd appreciate it. So what are we doing here today? Well, today we are here to kind of go...
God.
What's that, Shay?
I said rethinking life choices with that.
Okay.
Ow.
Try not to finish it right now.
No, you just power through with confidence and ignore the pain. So with that said, what are we doing here today? Well, today we're going to kind of go through our version of a review. And one thing that we want to be very clear on when we do this review is we're not here to make friends. We're not here to make enemies. We're just here to make sure that when we give you a review, that it's the most honest review that we can give. Some things that we decided to set as prerequisites before we do any type of review is that, one, we're going to have to have had at least at minimum 2 plays together. Again, we want to do these games together so that way when we go through the reviews, we're kind of able to communicate with each other on how we feel about it. The other thing is we've got several different categories that we are going to review on. One of them will be called Crack and Pack, Art and Theme, Play and Replay, Cost and Value, and then, of course, the all-important total score. Each of these categories, we will give a score 0 to 10, and we will be giving figure skating scores or professional scores because we will be doing the decimal system. So that way we can make sure that we are really pinpointing what we feel about all of these games. So, gentlemen, this is our chance to really make sure that the community knows how we feel about these games with the most honest, truthful reviews we feel will be out there, whether we hurt people's feelings or not. Hopefully not, but sometimes the truth hurts. So, you guys ready to go?
Yes.
All right. So again, just to recap, this game is Rock Hard 1977, brought to us by DeVere Games. Of course, this is going to be one of the hottest games at Gen Con 2024. So if you're watching this before you go, this might help you get a chance to learn more about the game and make a decision, because it's going to be kind of one of those snap decisions at Gen Con. You know, do you want to get the game? Do you not want to get the game? You better act now. The other neat thing, just to say with Jackie, she pointed out to us that they will be giving free promotional cards away at Gen Con. Unfortunately, the three of us will not be there, so we will not get those.
It's
but
an
we
extra
have
$5 if you order on DeVere to get that extra card of Jackie in the game. I just looked at that tonight. I was like, oh, come on.
Jackie, come on, Jackie. Send us one freebie autographed per person, of course. Not just for
just me.
One of us.
Just me. Just
for
me,
everybody.
So,
gentlemen, let's get to the first category. The first category is going to be called Crack and Pack. So this is going to be 2 different sections. The first one is going to be Crack. So when you unbox the game, this is going to be your chance to kind of share the look, the feel, the punch boards, the feel of the pieces, the quality of the packaging. This is really your first impressions when you get that box home from your friendly local game store like Voss Media and get a chance to crack it open. How does it feel? So Shay, why don't you go first?
Cool. I feel like this category is like, if I'm like very into a category, it's this one. So I'm gonna be very, very honest with this. Crack 4.5, people. No, that you've seen our game. You've seen our unboxing. That me and Dion both had a look. Like it was like, And I mean, we got the message from DeVere that, okay, it was just rushing packaging, trying to get people to get the game. And I kind of understand that, but I don't see really how it could be better. Maybe it wouldn't be slid all around, but I'm looking at the bands. The bands with paper bands, the whole lot of the things, those would crack even if it was a good shipping. Like those little, like, it felt like my toddler that I don't have put the game in put some saran wrap on, and then just say, "Here you go, perfect new game, Dad." So that's a 4.5.
Yeah,
No
what about
better,
you?
Devere.
Well, one of my favorite things is the crack a box open, right? Punch the little punchies, get it all organized, get ready to play it. For me, the crack was a 4, and I gave it 2 extra points because I'm pretty mean about my crack. I mean, I play high level. I mean, I do also pay a lot of money for those games, but I pay some high level games, and most of my games have a very good put away system in. So with that being said, I gave it a 4 personally because I think that was one of the biggest issues I had was due to the organization of the box. There was really no inserts. It was a complete mess inside, and I gave it 2 more points because they did come out and say, "Hey, we rush shipped this to you. It was handled by FedEx. It was handled by UPS or whoever. It finally showed up at your door, and it wasn't meant to come like in retail. They come packed in like a pack of 6 usually, so they don't get that kind of jostling going on, and they might have been in a hurry. So I gave them a break on that. But with that being said, I do feel that it had like really good pieces. I mean, it would have scored probably a 9 if it came packed and ready to rumble because the pieces were really nice inside. The felt of the paper, the way it felt to crack them, the easy snap together pieces, the cool when you fold it out, that big amp was like, ooh, this is kind of cool. And then the punch outs, you realized, ooh, this goes in the middle here, and this is where your character is. It felt good to punch. It wasn't a horrible game. It felt the nice quality that they took, which we'll talk about later in the pieces. But the cracking of it, that's the feeling I got, was very low due to that experience. So I gave it a 4.
Yeah, the hard part with your first review is that you're kind of establishing what your baselines are going to be. And, for me, I think, and what's hard is, you sometimes convolute some of these categories and things like value kind of are still in the back of my mind when you talk about this stuff. So I think I was a little more generous with my score. I gave it a 6.5. And I mean, there's no sugarcoating. What we got was... It was, I think, Shay, you summed it up perfectly. It's kind of like, whoa, my 8-year-old played this game last and threw everything in the box, and that's what I just opened. So it was a little surprising. I think just from that perspective, I wasn't prepared for that, and I think we all kind of had that audible pause. I mean, at the end of the day, though, like I said, I mean, and we'll get to, again, the value and the price of the game, but I think that's why it didn't bother me as much, is just because... we'll get to the value, but I'll just say 6.5. So with that said, so every game comes out, you punch it out, you put the pieces together, and Dion, you hit it well. I mean, there weren't a lot of pieces to put together with this. It was just more a lot of sorting small bits and tokens and dollar bills and cards, which were relatively easy. Again, the only thing that took any sort of effort was putting the play boards together with the speakers, or I'm sorry, the controls, the knobs. But for every great game that you get out and you play, you got to put it away. And sometimes this can make or break a game. So when we give our pack score, we're going to say, how easily does it get put away? Does it have enough bags? Is it simple to put away and pack? Does it stand on the bookshelf? And how does it store until the next use? This is, again, an important part of any board game, is how easy is it to get out, but also, is it easy to put away? So gentlemen, we'll start with you this time. What's your score for the pack?
My pack, I gave it a pretty bad score. I gave it a 2 on my pack. I destroyed it only because there wasn't enough bags. All of the organization was a lot to organize and set aside. I would not want to do that on another replay of that. So you want to add more bags into them. The bags are cheap. I'm not mad about the pricing of the bags. Whatever. With that being said, they could have thrown some in. But however, it was just an empty box that they just throw everything back in when you pack it away. They have these little knobs on it that, when you're stacking those, you're afraid, is one of the other ones going to hit it and pop it off? Is it going to be broken down the road? And so you're trying to pack it to where you're shoving everything in the box because it's just an empty box. And I felt like there could have been some good separation there that wasn't in there. So for me, it scored really bad on packing it away. The organization of trying to organize everything to pop it back out and get a good replay value was the packing really suffered for me. So I gave it a 2.
Okay. Jay?
Okay. I'm going to have to be real. Like, organization is so important to me. Like I would literally give a game like a 10, but then drop it down to a 7, like a 6 if the organization is bad. The fact that you didn't have any slots, like in an empty box, let me go with this. It gets to 1.7. Like if any, and that's me because I'm being nice. Like it's 1.7. It's almost a 1 because there was none. Like a little bag, like you gave me like 2 baggies. That's not organization. Like a game like that. If I have a game that's open box, I want that game to be like a card game because you don't need a lot of organization in a card game. You just need a little box there. If you have like small little pieces or maybe like a smaller game, okay, I can say yes to that. We will say that's good. When you have a game that has acrylic pieces, knobs that you have to actually move around that could be like jostled there, don't see how this won't break. And so, or won't get damaged. And like, usually I would do like a test how I would probably put the box vertical, then put it down, like how people will wear it, and then kind of give it to it. But I don't have to in that game because there's nothing. There's nothing. It's not tight enough to be there. So 1.7, my friends, and this is not towards the game. This is towards the company who made it, sadly. They didn't do a good job with that. So no, I can't give it to you. I can't give you,
To
it's
be
1.7.
real, all Devere games do that, hoping that they fit well within the box of how they come in, and usually it has multiple instructions, and you can either pull it up if you need to make it fit tighter, or you can throw those instructions out and get some looseness in there. So to be fair, that's my only complaint with Devere. That's my only complaint with their games. I love their games, so that's fair to say. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Matt. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think for me, for the pack score, again, I'm keeping in check that I know what the price of this game is when I give these scores. And that was something that, again, we did talk to Jackie about, and they did say that that was a conscious decision to keep the price point down of the game. Again, I think it's going to MSRP for $49.99.
But that doesn't change I mean, that's the value. That doesn't change the packing it away.
No,
right?
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, again, it's kind of hard because, again, I'm kind of thinking of like what I'm getting for that price. So that's why I think my score is a little bit more lenient than what both of your scores are. I mean, at the end of the day, the hard part is some board games, I almost think the box is like a necessary evil, and they fully intend that you're going to get some sort of other type of container to put the game in. And this is definitely not one, because we'll get to the art here, the next category, because the art of the game is beautiful. The box is beautiful. We'll get to that in a minute. But because it's beautiful, it's a piece that you're going to want to showcase if you have calyxes and things like that. And so for me, I think at the end of the day, the simple answer is I'm giving a 5.0 for the packing. But I think the hard fact is that this is the kind of game that you just have to accept that you will need to buy an insert.
Yeah, you're gonna spend the extra money, and the value's there, right? We'll talk about that in a minute. But you're gonna spend the extra money for either a 3D printed one, or one you find on Etsy, or one of those little like put together ones that they usually have that you can find at your friendly local game store.
Because
I
think that for me the big couple issues that I had were, those little bags are literally 1 cent per part from China. So the fact that they gave us chronically way too few bags, I know it's silly, but I love, when you sit there and you still have like 7 bags after you put a game away and you're like, crap, what did I not organize right? Even though in reality, they just threw a bunch in there for you. This one, it's like you got like 3 bags and you're like, guess everything goes in this bag that's not big enough. So from that perspective, like I said, it was just a little bit of an annoying. It kind of felt like a 1980s board game. You know what I mean? Like the old Risk or Monopoly, where it's like you just know when you're done, you just chuck it all in the box and throw it on the shelf and put it away. That's really kind of what this game felt like. And so, like I said, the other big concern I had as a consumer is the beautiful dual layer speaker boards. Deanne, you brought this up, the knobs. There's no good way to pack those. And the heights of them are not at a way where you could kind of like reverse stack them to make it sit nicely. So I think the fact that they don't easily come in and out, you can't easily put them on and off. They're going to stay together, which means you're going to have this wobbly mess And so I don't know what somebody can do on Etsy, but like I said, I think that's a big issue that the game has is beautiful components that might get ruined because there's no good way to organize. So again, I give that a 5.0. So my cumulative, gentleman, is a 5.75 when it comes to Crack and Pack.
Mine's at a 3 average is for the Kraken pack. I gave it a 3. It scored pretty low. What was your Shay?
All right, so yeah, 3.1. Like I'm passionate.
We're there.
So on to the next section. That's going to be art. So art and theme are going to be the two topics that we discuss. And art and theme are critical for a game because it's the thing that brings you in. It's the thing that makes you feel engrossed. It sets the environment. It sets the whole experience. It can make or break a game, especially if it's a theme that's something you're passionate about. Maybe you love sports. Does it bring you in and make you feel like you're on the field? Do you love medieval times? And do you feel like you're actually fighting that dragon? So art and theme is critical. So the first category here is going to be art. So how well quality is the art on the box? What about on the board? Is the style to your likings? Is the art on any of the cards or the pieces what you were hoping to have with the theme of the game? And so, gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off and just say very simply, I'm going to give this an 8.7 for art. I think first and foremost, the first experience when you look at the box, the raised art on the cover, you have learned, we don't know whose butt it is on the cover of the Game After interview with Jackie, but it's a beautiful rock piece. Side art looks great. The box art looks great. The other thing I loved is Jackie said she loves hot redheads, and that kind of made my day. So that also got bonus points for me. But overall, I think when you look at the whole art of it, all the way down to the game board, the game pieces, the rock stars you can pick from, the cards on the manager pieces, even down to the guitar picks being authentic guitar picks, I just think every way around it, from the box all the way down to every minute piece, it felt like true art that I had in my hands. My favorite part unequivocally was the dual layer speaker that had the amp that went all the way to 11, pure rock and roll style. So for me, 8 points.
Yeah, I gave it an 8. I thought the quality on the box, like you said, for the way that the light hits it was perfect. The art gave me that rock band feel, of like creating my own rock band on the old video game style rock band. Really liked the art touches on it. As a retailer, what I enjoyed more is the fact that on the wrapping, they put the sticker on the front, which you can forward face it. That way, if the light doesn't hit it right, you don't see the rock hard, but you'll see the nice white logo, which is really awesome. I need some of those white logo windows for these so I can put it in my windows because I think that's a perfect little rock hard logo. Anyway, really liked that touch on it. I loved like you said, each individual character card. The art fits really well with what we're looking at. The board, the art fit very well with the board. Not my favorite art, but it is an 8, which is pretty good for me.
All right. Yeah. 8.5. Like it's
nice.
Like we'll talk about theme next, but it just got me into what it was trying to do. I felt with the art, especially with the little small things, like how the score tracker was like there's a piano, basically, which I didn't realize until we had that interview. And then I looked at it, I was like, OMG. Like little touches like that just made just how it looked, it just made it beautiful. And I don't want to get it because I know a lot of my feels is with theme, but we're just gonna say the art is 8.5. I'll tell you how I feel about theme in a second.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
So next, the part of this is going to be the theme. Is the game thematic? Does it match? Does the art match the theme? Does the theme make the game better, or does it flow well with a theme? So again, a theme of a game can sometimes make or break the game entirely, especially for new people into the hobby space. That can be the thing that sometimes attaches us to a game. So Dion, why don't you tell us, how did you feel about the theme of Hard Rock 1977?
First, I need to preface this with not many games will get a 10 ever. Like, to me, a 10 is the almighty perfect of everything, right? This comes darn close to that for what it was trying to do. In fact, I was trying to think while you were talking about theme, if there's any if there's any games out there that are better thematic in this genre of rock and roll or in the genre of music. Lacrimosa does a good job, also by Devere. There's a few other ones that the theme feels really good when you're playing it. You want to be a part of the game. I gave this one a 9 because it fits perfect with the art, the matching of the theme. The game gives the like struggling music artist feeling, with the cards, the way they're themed differently as you're pulling them, trying to go backstage, do certain things in that area. The extra writing of the events. The theme, just in the rule book, as you're going through how she stays right with the theme when trying to, little blurps here and there about, we've mentioned a couple times, this is, I know it's long, but they said the same thing about Stairway to Heaven, that had, like, you're playing with a masterpiece here. Oh, the theme fits perfectly with this game. Absolutely perfect. So to me, it's a 9. And to me, a 9.5 is the golden grail of it. So I'd only hit it a little bit, only because of some of the choices that were made, I think, with the theme. But it kind of, like you said, it kind of crosses into play a little bit with me. But the theme itself, I mean, if I'm going to play a game about music, I would go on the line to say that's probably my favorite music game on the market with a 9 theme.
Okay.
So yeah, that 9.5 is like a golden grail. That's like the number. My God, 9.7. The game is so on theme. Like I cannot I cannot like to get a 10. You have to be the top. And I need to play more games to give something a 10. I'm just going to be honest with you. But this almost got that 10 because I have not felt so much into it. And even in gameplay, like, okay, we have the cards and you have the different places for the hangouts. You don't know what the hangouts is going to be. Of course, that will be random. So because you don't know what that's going to happen there. And so, yes, that's theme. They're like, the fact that I was being the music player and the dude was, when we did a one gameplays, when the dude got to get his recording cheaper because he worked there, like that reminded me of college when I could do that and just get it free because I was doing it for study. And so like every part of it, even the events make sense because the events are like, okay, you gotta think about life and how life is gonna be. And you know that, especially with rock and roll, especially back then, there were things that really triggered different things to happen around. And so, like, I really, like, if I play, like, give me like 5 more years in the gaming space, and I might have to come back and say if this is a 10 or not, but it's definitely 9.7. Like, you hit, like,
Well, my favorite game of all time doesn't get a 10 for me in theme, and that's my favorure game. So, I mean, it's got to be better than I ever expected.
I like that Dion's already trying to defend himself.
No, I'm just saying that. I'm being honest.
Being honest.
I agree with what he said. I agree with everything Shay said. It's really good when it comes to theme. What was your story?
Well, Shay, you and I kind of agree on this one. To me, to critique the theme would be to critique Eminem during 8 Mile and say that it's not authentic to him. Because you're literally talking about somebody
Eminem reference
giving. Well, hey, we're from Michigan, baby. You're literally trying to critique somebody's real life experience that they're trying to bring to you, and so to me, like I said, there's just no question. The game oozes theme from every aspect of it, from the locations that you can pick from, the play at, the venues, the activities that you can do, everything on point, all the way down to way to go first the next turn is be a loser and go to bed early, like a rock star would do. All of the different locations that were kind of somewhat set on experiences and places in her background that she remembered from her rock days. And again, even down to just the cycle of the days, morning, evening, late night hangout, everything of it just reeked. Even, I mean, again, down to just the dollar bills having little funny things written on them just to add a little bit more experience to it. The player tokens, right? Authentic, actual, real guitar picks. So to me, I don't want to give a 10 because I don't know that you can ever come back from giving a 10 out, but man, like I almost feel like I'm unfair to this game by not giving it a 10 because I've never played a board game that has more theme accurate experience to it so far, at least. So to me, of any game I've probably almost ever played, I think it was on theme to a level I've never seen.
I agree with that.
So what's the actual number?
your average, your total art and theme average. What was that, Matt?
Oh, he
Total.
never said his number for like what theme is.
He didn't.
What was the actual
I
theme
thought he
number?
did.
Mm-mm.
I
He
said
said we was
9.5.
okay. There, no, I did hear
9.5.
9.5,
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel
Yeah, I
it.
heard 9.5 too. I thought it was
Okay.
high up there. So what
Yep.
was your
Okay.
total average?
It was a total of 9.1 for
Mine's
art and theme.
8.5 for art and theme. So
Mine's also
There you go.
9.1
there you
because
go.
it's
Nice.
yeah it. Ooh.
All right. So now we're going to move on to probably arguably what turns out to be some of the most important parts of any board game. And that's going to be the play ability and the replay ability, because some of these games start to feel like investments when we're talking $200, $300, $400 for a game. So with that said, gentlemen, we're going to start with play first. So this is, again, for those of us with a minimum of 2 playthroughs, how well is the playability of the game? Is it easy to learn? Is it interesting to play the game? How does it feel to play the game? You know, again, this is kind of that experience while you have the game out. So Shay, we'll go to you first. What was your experience for the play?
So I think this is good that we played it twice because it definitely gave me a more balanced look of it. My score is going to be a 8.1. It's what like the first time I played would have been higher, but I think playing with 3 players, and that's what we did, I think it doesn't flow perfectly yet. I think it gets to a point where you have to get out of the game and the essence of the theme to try to focus on, okay, I need to win, I need to do this to make sure that other player don't do something or that player's gonna run away with it. I think that the fact that it took me like for a game that got me so much in theme and it had to take me out of that theme because of that. Now, again, we are doing this off of 3 players. I think we all agree like playing this with 4 or maybe 5 people will probably feel
I think
like
would be great.
I think 5
Yeah.
I think that will do enough of it. But with just 3 players, I have to say at 8.1. Trust me when I say use if you have 3 players, use Rising Star. Get that to go with you. 'Cause I think that will help it. But yeah, with only 3 people, 8.1.
Yeah, I originally gave it a 6, and then I sat down and thought, well, we only played it with 3 players, and I can see the value of the play in 4 or 5. I think that's where it's going to shine. I think the game will shine with more players. I like the fact that they did 2-sided boards for the play value. But I gave it a 7 overall. My overall score for play was a 7, which is pretty good with me. It's a basic worker placement with some push your luck elements in the game. I don't think my strategy will change if I played it again, as the game seemed to be kind of broken if I got lucky type of thing, you know? So I pushed your luck. It felt a little broken with the luck thing there, so I gave it a 7. With the cards and get the right selection at the beginning of the game, you know, the whole selection period where you're picking your manager and you're picking your superstar. I liked it, but it's all felt like a lot of luck in the beginning, right? Like, if I get the right collection, I'm going to be way powerful than everybody else. So that hurt my score on it a bit. But as we played it, you know, a couple times, and then I played it once or twice without you guys. Sorry. I did feel like every time it rode a little bit more in play for me. So that goes more into replay, but it is a 7 for me for play. I think that I consider it a don't like. I think it's something as a retailer I can teach people and they'll love it. As a, you know, like you don't have kids, no, you're gonna love Rock Hard. You know, oh, you got kids? Here's Flamecraft, right? This is a good worker placement introduction. I think because it doesn't create a difficult worker placement game. It's pretty obvious what everything does on the board, right? And that's again goes kind of to the theme, to the art, but still, the play value for me is at that 7. I think I feel comfortable giving it a 7. Maybe he could push its way up a little bit more in the play value, but I feel
A couple
comfortable.
things I've noticed here, Shay. Dion is apparently afraid of the decimals. Every score is a,
I am
is a
definitely afraid
solid
of the decimal.
score.
I am afraid.
Not professional, of course.
No.
But for me, I'm going to give this an 8.3 for play. So, you know, again, at the end of the day, this is a light to medium worker placement. And for me, with 2 playthroughs, learning kind of the basics of mechanics and kind of the fundamentals of how it works, I think for the average person, you can teach somebody, and the first 1 or 2 playthroughs, they are going to walk away feeling like they know how to play the game, which I think is important for a board game to have. I think even with the asymmetry, which sometimes can add a whole other level of complexity, I think it's for that casual gamer. And again, talking to her, she wanted to make a game that her game group would enjoy, which it sounds like is more of that, kind of Wingspan level, kind of game, even though she does love Lacerda games. So that made Dion very happy. She loves the brain burners too, but I think she really wanted to come out with that type of game that really hit that more casual market that would appeal to a lot of people. And I think that's exactly what she did. I mean, it's the kind of game that a couple playthroughs you know how to play, but I think that there's always ways to try to learn how to tweak and make it a little harder long term, which will come in replay. But I think right out of the box, it's pretty simple to understand. A lot of the instructions are right on the board. So, even if you're kind of forgetting what happens, like Devere did a great job of making sure, just like in most other games, it kind of educates you as you're playing. So for me, I think just that straightforwardness of playing a worker placement game, I think if you have any background with it at all, I think this is an easy get out the first time and actually sit down and play. And I think you'll enjoy it. So I give it an 8.3. So with that said, though, nobody wants to buy a board game and just play it once. Some of us just want to buy a board game and never play it. Other of us would prefer to play it over and over and over and over and over again. So this is going to be our score for, does this game have replayability? Would you play this game again? How does it compare to others on your shelf? Would you recommend the game? And what people would love this game? How easy will it be to get back to the table to show value in the game? So with that one, gentlemen, I'm going to give this one actually a 7.8 for replayability. I think with the right game group who loves the theme of rock and roll, I think this game kind of offers pretty much everything you could hope for, with all the asymmetry of the rock stars, the managers, the jobs, all of the randomness that comes up for the events in the evening category, some of the other areas of the after hours cards. So the randomness of the nighttime also makes it interesting. Even though I think sometimes, like Dion, as you said, since you were getting some really lucky rolls with the candy, felt like your visits after hours almost made you too strong, and it was highly unrealistic because Dion kept getting laid, and so that was definitely.
We have 5 kids. Just saying. I don't.
But overall, like I said, I think that for the right group of more of the casual gamer, I think this is going to be right up there with Wingspan. It's just, again, thematically, I think if you are into 70s and 80s rock and you just enjoy board games and you have some friends that are over on a Friday night and you want to, you're sick of playing Ticket to Ride, you're sick of playing Wingspan, I think this is going to absolutely have a phenomenal place for many people. So again, not necessarily my kind of stuff personally, but I can respect the hard work, and I'm so blown away and impressed by Jackie. So again, for me, I gave it a 7.8. That's where you guys can go next.
But you got to pick because it could have been me or him.
You were picking left and right.
So picking all the other
okay,
times.
Shay, you go next.
Cool. So I'm just gonna be out and say it. 8.7. I want to play this game still. I want this game. If I could go and have this game, my birthday's in a week. If I could somehow manage to get a hyperbolical time chamber just to go and speed up time, just so I can get the game to come back for my birthday, I will bring it to my birthday.
Or you could just go to Gen Con, Shay.
Yeah, but my birthday is next week. Gen Con is next week in a couple of days. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I have, even talking about it, I was like, you know what? We should play it. We should play it again. I think, again, like I said before, I would play with 4 or 5. I don't think, or 3 with the Rising Star. Definitely. I think if a game is on your mind, and each time you talk about said game, it gives you a happy feel and makes you want to play it again, then it has to have it high. And for me, it's an 8.7. I definitely want to play it again.
Nice.
I want to play it multiple times. Good. I want to see all the different people. There's 11, like you said, 11 different people you can be, and then there's different jobs you could do, and then different managers, and then the different 8 points.
It actually climbed for me. Like I said, I played a few other times without you guys. I really enjoyed it as well. The replay value climbed to about 8 because each time I played it, I kind of found more things I liked about it. You start realizing where you go does certain things and how that affects certain things based on the evening. And so knowing what I know now, if we played, I would be even more deadly in the game because I know where I need to go to get the stats I need to get. The different setups in the beginning of the events, they change and you get used to them, yes, but it's still fun to read. Introducing the game to new people, the replay value. I want to show people this game. I can't wait for it to come into the retail shop so I can open it and show it to people. I think it'll move very fast off my shelf as a retailer. I think the replay value staying strong at an 8. Maybe should even push it up to some like 8.5, 8.7-ish for me.
He's bringing the decimals in.
I'm going to stay with an 8 because I'm a simple-minded guy.
Of course you are. Why wouldn't you?
I'll be fair.
As I mentioned, I really wouldn't change the strategy. I played it multiple times after playing you guys and didn't change my strategy. Still very successful strategy that I use. Pushing the luck of the game. That was a very successful strategy of it. See, the reason why the replay value jumped for me over the play value is I can see me changing the strategy if I don't get the good combination and I've still got to figure out how to win. Or people take my spaces that they see they're trying to actively stop me from going to multiple places at night, which started happening when I started playing with the same group over, the second time through. People were taking spots at night that I was like, I was going to go there and get 2 points and go there and get 1 point. You both took those points. I guess I'll go here and here instead, which you seen what I had available and what I was trying to complete. You took it from me, which is really good because they still get their bonuses and they're stopping me from running away with the game. So I can see the strategy going up more and it becomes less random the more you play it. I seen that after Jackie said mentioned it to me. I was like, yeah, well, maybe. And I can see that. So I give it an 8. I think an 8 is a strong score, which my play and replay value average at 7.
Hey, look at you in decimals.
Yes.
Did it.
And mine was at 8.05. So
mine was
all right,
a beautiful 8.4 altogether. It was
8.4. Nice.
So now we're going to move on to our last topic, which is going to be an extremely important one, as especially we deal with things like inflation, and that's going to be cost and value. When you put your hard-earned dollars down to buy a board game that's going to be with you for a long time, like a unwanted turtle, just won't ever die. This is going to be a personal experience there, Dion. Don't question it. But this is going to be that thing that's going to last with you. And so at the end of the day, you want to know, are you buying a game that has a good cost? And more importantly, are you going to get value by purchasing this game? So let's start with cost. So at the end of the day, how do you feel about the cost of the game? How does it compare to the current market? And in your opinion, where should the cost be for a game like this? So, Shay, why don't you go first on this one?
So I think cost is going to balance everything out for me because I gave a bad score for Pack and Crack, but because the cost is going to be $50, that is what I expect a $50 game to have. Having all those nice pieces in it, having all those things in it, but then you're not having any organization to it. If you would have told me this was a $60, $70 game, which I could have said easily it could have been, then I would have been like, okay, this is like a good 7, 8. The fact that it's $50, that's 9.5 for me. That is simply that is right there. It hit the pocket of what the game is. They didn't try to oversell it. I feel like they undersold it a little bit too, to be completely honest, especially with those acrylic pieces, especially because of those linen dollars, especially because of that, just the whole setup of the of the amp. That would easily give you a higher price value, but you just hit it at that 49.99. That's so 9.5 cost right there.
Yeah, the retail value is $49.99. If you want the $5 expansion pack of Jackie, it's $54.99, which is well worth it, I'm sure. So we can play with Jackie in the game. I would love to do that. But this is a $50 game that I say in today's market would be $79.99. Right? I think that I wish they would have charged an extra $10, maybe $49.99 to $59.99. I would have been happy. it put that extra stuff that I really missed in the game that I felt like should have been there, like the put away and take out. And I still would have been happy at $69.99, but that's more value. But the cost, I think, if it's right where it should fit, it's definitely the cost for me is a buy, absolute buy.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this a 9.4 for cost. I've even seen one online retailer have it for as cheap as $39.99 on
Wow.
pre-order.
Stop it, online retailer.
But I mean, this game at that price
some
to me
overhead.
for anybody who likes worker placements and has any interest in the rock theme. To me, it's an auto buy. I think it's an auto buy for people who tend to have more casual players who come to play, and you want to be able to pull something out you can teach them, and more importantly, like you can bring out again next time they come over, and it won't be too hard to remind them how to play. So to me, I think especially if you like that 70s and 80s rock and roll theme, you can't beat the price or how much comes in the box. The quality of the components is almost like a deluxeified version of a game without having to pay deluxe prices. Again, the acrylic pieces you have for the rock stars, the linen, Shay, I'm just repeating what you said, but the linen dollars were just, I mean, honest to God, guys, like sometimes I was looking at those things like, this isn't real, right? Like, I mean, some of them looked relatively authentic, even down to like coffee stains on them.
It's really good value considering they gave you, I don't know, like $50 in money back to you in the box. So
yeah. So like I said, to me, just yeah, exactly. Yeah, go spend them. So, honest to God, like I bet, like I wish you could do this without getting put in jail for this. I would love to take one of those dollars, and I swear to God, you could probably get away with it. Like I'm not recommending this for the record. Yeah, legal disclaimer: this is not financial advice.
Require you to go and try to spend the money that you get in the game.
But I'm telling you what, guys, like really you just hand it off. Like somebody's not going to look at it too closely and probably accept it. I'll be frank with you, like. DeVere may sell out of this board game because people are trying to get the counterfeit dollars.
They're going to have to refund it a couple of times. Walking right into your value, though, how do you feel your value is for the game? Of course, it's probably high considering you're such high in the cost.
Yeah, and again, value is everything in the box. What is the cost, the playability? What's the value of the game, both time and financially for the cost of the pieces? Is it all worth the money? And I mean, to me, at the end of the day, this is arguably the most important part of any review is, do you feel like the game gives you value for your time, value for your money? Again, in this kind of environment where people are feeling more strapped, discretionary things start to become a little harder to buy. Again, I give this a very high score. I give it a 9.2 for the value perspective, which gives me an overall cost and value score of a 9.3, which to me puts it in a very, very, very elite category of games. But again, just due to such a low cost point to purchase the game, coupled with a very good replayability, and it will just skyrocket again with more players. And for having people in your life who like that theme, I think they will be enthused. The tongue-in-cheek jokes, there's just so many points where it just makes you chuckle. Every game I kept finding something new that made me laugh while I played it. So again, 9.2 in the value, 9.4 in the cost, 9.3 overall value, which phenomenal to me.
Yeah, you're going to get your money's worth out of this box. I mean, for the value of dollars, I'm going to get 10 plays minimum out of 2 hours of play. It's $2.50. That's easy. I mean, that's easy money. That it's worth your value. The pieces inside it, we've talked about that numerous times. The value of what you're getting for the money you're getting. I give it a 9, hands down 9. And that's only because, again, I'm scared of decimals, and it's hard for me to go to 10. I'm probably in that 9.5 mark. But I made a note here, and I was like, the price is right, Bob. The price is right for the value, the price. Notice the extra love in the rulebook, the extra love that she put inside the game. You can honestly tell that even after speaking with her, even more so, that she has a passion for board games and board gaming. And you could tell that when you play the game. It won't sit on my shelf for long, not at that $49.99 mark price. And they're going to have to reprint it because I don't think it'll sit on anybody's shelf. I think it would be a very high sold game because there isn't very many games in that theme with the music that go that way. So the value for what you're paying and what you're going to get in return, it is one that you could put on the shelf, play it 2 or 3 times, get bored with it, up it, back out. When the music theme fills you, how many times do we break into song while we're playing this? I mean, that is value alone right there. That's worth every value there. Anyway, I give it a 9 overall, so it would be an average of a 9 for me for score for the entire cost and value, which is very high in my book. So I'm picky.
So, where's my camera? Look, right here. I know. I need everybody, every publisher to listen to me when I say this. Y'all know how bad I gave the packing. The value in this game, 9.8. Do you understand that this game oozes? The only reason why this game is getting a lower score than it should be is because of the crappy packing. Like, you are running into, for me, this is my, like, on my list of might be my game of the year. Because there is no, because for me, as a musician, as somebody who loves that and can just feels the everything with it, like, I get happy buys with that, with another, like, my favorite game. Like, we're in a contendership of that because it is in that top 5 hit because it has everything that I want in it's Rock Band the game. Like, can we be real? It's like it's so
Yep.
So 9.8. It makes my cost and value 9.7 because we already said it. The freaking money, the amp.
Well, they say you can't buy happiness, but
what that is 9.8 is close. 9.8 is close. Like, I'm telling you, like, the only reason why I wouldn't play this game is because other people would get tired of me wanting to suggest this game. That's why this gets a 9.8, because that's how I feel about this game and the value of it. So 9.7 is the whole cost and value for me.
All right. Well, I think that Jackie would love to hear those. So, gentlemen, let's go ahead and wrap up this by giving our total overall score for each of us. So, again, this is going to be the average of all of our scores and kind of giving us an opportunity to kind of say, our final bits on Rock Hard as we put this one to bed. I said Rock Hard. That potentially a criticism because it is so hard to not say Rock Hard or Hard Rock.
Yes.
Tongue twister. So, Hard Rock.
That is a criticism on the game.
Yeah, Rock Hard, 1977.
Well,
Let's put this one to bed. So, Dion, go first.
More of a bonus for me. I think that my overall score is a 7, again, brought down from the Kraken pack. But an overall score is a 7. I think it should score way higher than that. It's highly recommended buy. It will be recommended in my store. It will be on my shelf to play. And I will be showing a lot of people this game. I think that it will sell very quickly. And I think if you don't go out and buy this game, this is probably going to be, so far from what I've seen from Gen Con, it's probably going to be the highlight of Gen Con.
Every hot list.
Every hot list, it should be right up there with the theme knocking it out of the park. Overall score for me was a 7, only because of the Kraken pack brought it down. It should be an 8, 8.5, easy in my book of games. It will, anything, just give you an idea, anything 6.5 and over, I want to put on my own shelf at home, which says a lot considering I'm surrounded by over 1,600 board games that are behind me and over 900 in my play area or in my retail area. So it should say a lot that I gave this game as high a score of 7. I'm just saying it's something I would take home and keep in my house. So highly recommend going out and buying it. And that's not because Devere paid me. That's not because Devere gave me a Dobby. It is simply brutally honest review from yours truly. 7. Go buy it.
All right. So I wanted you to pay attention, people, when I said the 9.8, when I did the value, because the whole overall is 7.6. Why is this game that I love 7.6? Make your packing better. Like, it's almost a disservice to the designer and artist who create the game. Because I want to say this is a 9 something. it should be a 9 something, but that crack and pack, ugh. So yes, 7.6. I rest my case, Your Honor.
Well,
You're on. Okay, here.
man, so I have to say this, taking into account our time with Jackie, which again, if you get a chance, definitely go watch that interview because she was one of the most just impressive people to talk to. She was one of the funniest people I've talked to. And I think all three of us just sat there and we're like, we didn't want to end the interview because we could just listen to her talk. And very few people I found that captivating. So with that said, there's a lot that goes into this score for me. I'm actually going to give this a much better score for you guys because at the end of the day, like as a consumer, which I'm coming at it as, I'm used to a lot of games now requiring a lot of inserts, and it just doesn't bother me nearly as much as I think it bothers both of you guys based on your scores.
You're right. Yep.
You're right.
And I think it's also just because I've become accustomed to it. And for me, like the one-time annoyance of not enough bags. Well, guess what? I've got Glad bags upstairs. You know, I'll just go grab some. Like, should they be in there? Of course they should be in there. But at the end of the day, if I'm going to give a game a total score, I'm not going to let the initial one-time issue bother me that much. So I'm actually going to give it an 8.4. So for me, baseline is 7. That's an average game. Anything above a 7 to me is going to be above average. 9 is elite of the elite, and I've got very few games I think that would fit in line with that. So for me to give it that score is a huge pat on the back. That's a big score from me. So for me, especially with this being kind of the first game that we've done a true review with, I just want to make sure that it's really established that this is a big score. Overall, like I said, I think when it comes down to it, the downsides are the requirement for the insert, have an easy take apart and put away. I think it's somewhat limited with the nighttime phase, you know, because there's only a couple venues that you can go to. It kind of feels like it pushes you to the top of the board. That second phase of the game felt a little more, you know, I felt like 80 to 90% of the time we just went to the variable location and did whatever that was because it was always the best until we could, you know, go to the venues. So it just kind of felt a little dull. That part of the game did for me. And I feel like, you know, at least in the few playthroughs, it felt like there was a little bit of a solving of the game. Even though the randomness, I think, does help remove some of the fears, which I think is good. I know, Dion, that was something you had a little bit more of an issue of than me. But again, I think when I think of the positives, because I always like to end on the positives, the components, phenomenal. The writing was fantastic. The commitment to the theme. I mean, this was her life that she was putting into a board game. The passion that she brought from all of it, can't emphasize enough. If you're going to Gen Con, go talk to. She is an amazing person. Her story is amazing. Her life has been amazing. And what she's going to create in the future, I think, is something that we were all walking away excited up for. So I think where the game could go in the future based on our interview, there's so many opportunities for expansions. He talked about different things that they have in the works that may also add to the game. We also gave her recommendations that asterisks we asked for royalties on if we see them. But like I said, I think that 8 point. Yeah, exactly. So I think, like I said, an 8.4 to me is just it's a chef's kiss. It's a phenomenal
really
game,
score.
and I think it's an auto buy for anybody, like I said, who loves that medium weight worker placement, who wants to have some fun with friends who love 70s, 80s rocks. You got to buy the game. So
Well, and to defend Shay and I just a bit, because I think that's important, is
there's
that
never a defense for you guys.
well,
You're just ashamed, is what it
you
is.
were like
You're embarrassed by
one-time
your
crack.
score.
I'm not.
No, I'm not. That score's fine. That's where it falls in my world of
Should be.
gaming. It's not a one-time experience. The cracking is, you're absolutely right, but the packing happens every time you have to put that damn thing away or take it back out. So there's games that are $50 that have really low, and I'm comparing it to those games. So I don't think, and even Shay is as well, because we are both, you know, we crack open a game every Wednesday and we pack a game every Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I do it every Thursday and every Saturday, and I do it multiple times. So for me, it's an extremely important thing. Even my personal collection. That's why I like Lacerda games that have that really nice insert. That's why you buy Kickstarter, right? For those nice little extra
low-key.
one of the best systems in the world is $100 or $230 game or $260 game is that has like a little trays that you're putting in there. Has like a little like put away box in it. Foundations of Rome. I mean, that's important to players. It is. And so I don't
Yes.
want to belittle that, but I also agree with you 100%. A 7 is a solid score for me. For me to give it a 7, and the fact that if it would have even scored a 6 or a 7 on its, you would have pushed up to an 8 and 8.5. I'm thumbs up all the way. So our scores averaged all together because I gave it my overall score is a 7. Shay's was what was your overall score? Shay was a
Mine was 7.6.
7.6, and yours final was a
8.4.
7.6 plus 7 plus 8.4 divided by
7.66.
7.6.
7.7.
That's 7.7.
That's where this game belongs.
That's
where this game belongs to my boy.
That's right
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, if you're in the 9 tiers, if you're 8.5 to 9, 9.5, you're like some of the best games I've ever played. Right.
Yeah. And I think that's important for us to establish. Again, this is our first review for people. So if you're watching this and you've gotten to this part of the episode, first of all, don't forget to like and subscribe. But we're on our march to 500 subscribers, which would mean a lot to us because it opens up a lot of doors for us to keep pushing this channel forward. So definitely make sure you subscribe. But aside from that, I think it's important. Again, we don't want to be just the glowing, everything is gray, everything is warm and fuzzy, because I don't think that's honest. And I think there's a lot of reviewers who get free copies of stuff and they just want to, they want to build a partnership with a company. They don't necessarily want to tell you what you should and should not spend your money on. So we're trying to be brutally honest with you of that. And again, I think 7.7 overall score is nothing to be upset about. I think 7 is the Mendoza line of good versus bad.
I would go like 6.5. I mean, there's games I've enjoyed. I would probably give a 6.5 to. But even at that, if you cross over that 7 line, I mean, it's a buy. It's a buy. It's a have to buy it. You have to play it. You have to enjoy it. It should be part of your collection at that 7. Now, is it going to be the best game in your collection? That's a pretty hard mark to hit, right? Because people have people have different views.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a really good addition to your collection at 7.5.
Yeah. I like I said, I think at the end of the day, like if Dion wasn't so scared of decimals, I think
could be an 8. Could be an 8.
It could have been 8. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like it's 7.8 maybe or something like that. But I think that I think when you really look at our scores, they're really not that far off if you weren't so, again, terrified of decimals. So overall, like I said, 7.7 total from the champions. That's our final score. So with that said, gentlemen, final thoughts as we wrap this up and say goodbye to Hard Rock.
Rock Hard,
1977.
Guess I want to say is go to bed. The second thing I want to say is, please, we are going to be brutally honest. People will cry. People will laugh and cheer. But I be real. I'm nice. Mess up with the Kraken Pack. See what happens. You saw what happened.
And my final thoughts are this: I have a ton of games available for your consumption of 1,600 plus that are in this store. I've probably played 3,000 plus games. There's 30 games that come out every month. I have to scroll through and see if they're halfway decent before I put anything in my store. So plus 30 plus games. I'm 45, 50 sometimes. So as a store owner, I have a different view of what I feel I can sell and what I would feel I put on my store. So my final thoughts here are, again, if it's over a 7, I would say buy it. It's worth putting on your shelf. And it is. Even for me at a 7, it's worth it. Keep in mind the scores are going to be completely honest with me because I love building relationships. But and they did give this game for free. They sent it to us ahead of time. Thank you for the beer. Thank you for Jackie for taking her time out of the day. None of this has reflection on that individually. This is all reflection on our honest opinion of the game, which we're all each entitled to. If you disagree with my opinion, please go out and buy the game and play it. Give us your opinion. I'd love to hear it in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll just wrap up real quick with, I think at the end of the day, with this being the first game we've had a chance to get our behind the scenes with and get our hands on, can't thank Devere enough for giving us the chance to do that. Jackie, like I said, just an absolute gem. Cannot thank her enough. Thank God she got rid of her lawyer license, so she didn't have to charge us hourly because we would have been poor.
We would have chatted
again,
another 5 hours with her. Our system didn't have problems.
God, yeah, she had to start singing Disney songs to get us off the hook with her. But
Immediately.
But like I said, that's why we need people to like and subscribe, so that way we can afford to pay those fees. But like I said, at the end of the day, it's been such an amazing experience to get something a little bit ahead of time and feel like we're really making waves in this industry and becoming a part of the YouTube space and the TikTok space and the Instagram space as champions of the tabletop. So with that said, I'll just say that it was such an amazing experience to get hands on with this and be a part of one of the biggest games of Gen Con 2024, and more importantly for Jackie, I think she's found a calling, and I think she's going to find immeasurable success with this game. And I think, again, for anybody out there, again, looking for that medium weight game that they can pull out at a game night with casual fans, I think this is going to sell a ton of copies. I think this is going to be playing in arenas, if you will, for the board game space, that will be in arenas, not in casinos. And the casino circuit, Shay. That's where the 80 bands go to die. So, but overall, just an incredible experience. So, Devere, thank you very much for the opportunity. Jackie, thank you for who you are and what you've given us. And champions, of course, never stop playing.